Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a walk down memory lane because we're going to be talking about Magcon. Of course, before we start today's video, we have to do this week's sweaty shoutout, and this week it goes to Marta Fulcra, who sent this photo. When soap cleans 99.99% of germs, you mix it with another soap to make it 199.98%. Science. Quality meme. Thank you so much for sending, and if you want to get a shout out for yourself, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram, and then DM me your favorite meme of the week and you might get chosen. Some of you guys might remember the video that I did last summer on Magcon. I think it was called Magcon Was a Fever Dream, or it was just a video kind of looking back on Magcon and remembering how weird that time was, but also comparing that to what we're currently seeing in social media. It doesn't really feel that weird anymore. Since posting that video, I'll get the odd comment on somebody asking me to revisit that video, but back when I initially posted that video, I distinctly remember one person, and I can't remember their username. I just remember that they had like a green icon, and they asked me for like 10 weeks straight to do a Where Are They Now Magcon edition, and at the time I had different video ideas that I wanted to do instead, but finally today, almost a year later, we are finally going to be doing a Where Are They Now Magcon edition. I do want to preface this video by mentioning that I was not a Magcon fan when they were active, and I didn't really pay attention to them other than when super controversial stuff happened with them. I do remember last video some people had mentioned that I had missed some things, and it would obviously make sense that someone who's a fan of Magcon would know a lot more about Magcon than someone who isn't. So if I do miss anything in this video, please feel free to share it in the comments down below as well, and yeah. Also, while Magcon was extended a few times after the original members left, I'm only going to be focusing on seeing where the original members of Magcon are versus getting into the extra members that were added, like Jacob Sartorius, and I don't know who else, but we're only going to be focusing on the original people. So just as a refresher, Magcon was created back in 2013 and originally consisted of 11 guys and 1 girl who at the time had all built an audience on Vine. It was one of the first versions of the creator tours we see a lot more often these days, whereas back then I feel like the only time that YouTubers really went on tour was if they were doing music on the side or if they were on a book tour. And as you can imagine, if the ones being run last summer were a mess, the original run in 2013 were even worse. For anyone watching who hasn't heard of Magcon before or any of these influencer tours in general, don't worry, I'll give you a bit of an idea on the general activity of these shows. Yay! Oh my god, Nash, that's so good! Now, did everyone shave their legs today?
Nash, I want you to fucking rip my hair to my face! Nash, I love you so fucking much!
Yeah, that's pretty much how it all went down, and as you can imagine, a bunch of guys with followers going on tour with not much to present during the show other than themselves resulted in some very weird ideas to keep the audience entertained for the actual show. Like, obviously what do you expect is going to happen when you collect a bunch of guys for a tour and none of them have anything to show on stage other than grinding the floor? It was of course very obvious that the show for the tour was sloppy and mismanaged because nobody was actually going for the show in the first place. They were going for the meet and greet. And with Magcon knowing that, it seems like they just decided to not even pretend like they were going to throw any effort into justifying the excuse for the meet and greet in the first place by maybe cooking up at least some sort of structured performance from the members. While it wasn't my cup of tea personally, Magcon was huge at one point, and so were all of the members, but as years went on and members started to move on to other things, as well as Vine dying, Magcon started to fade into the background, and now you rarely hear about the members anymore. When I was putting everything together for this video, I realized it kind of doubles as a bit of an exploration, if you will, on what happens to social media stars when they inevitably lose their peak internet fame. I'm sure that you guys don't need me to tell you that the internet is extremely fickle to the point where one day you could be making bank as a creator, and then the next you're completely forgotten about. And if and when it gets to that point, what do you do for work when you have such a massive digital footprint online that might have jeopardized your chance of getting a more traditional job? I don't want anybody twisting this saying I'm calling them irrelevant or anything, but I guess I'm more so genuinely curious what happens to people who have these massive peaks of internet fame at a really young age, and then what do they do for the rest of their lives? Because obviously nobody keeps the same level of fame that they had at their peak, but also like, is Cameron Dallas a real estate agent now? Obviously I want to start off with Nash Grier because he was one of the more visible members of the group, but also because he seems to be the one that changed the most since Magcon. If you guys remember my last video on Magcon, when it came to Nash, most of the things that we talked about were his interesting opinion on female body hair, and also his choice to upload a video basically instructing his very young female audience at the time on the things that they needed to do for him to find them attractive.
Oh, no. Wax, shade, yeah, that's the word. worst when there's hairs. Terrible.
As well as that god-awful shoe tweet, but it seems that since then, Nash Grier's actually changed quite a lot. For starters, he's married, and he's also a whole-ass dad now. From what's available online, it seems like he got married back in 2019 to a girl named Taylor Giavassis. I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, and they recently had a kid named Malachi. In terms of what Nash does now, obviously Vine is dead, so he's not a Viner anymore, but he does run a YouTube channel, but more specifically, it's a family channel. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking. Nash Grier and a family channel sounds like he's probably uploading videos like these, but in reality, his videos are actually as wholesome as they can get, and nothing like a certain family channel that comes to mind. They've got videos like naming our son, going into labor, our home birth experience, our first family trip, remodeling their house, what guys look for in girls part 2. I'm kidding.
We have to cut it first, Mama.
This is so cute. He's just eating a lemon. Like, overall, it's very wholesome stuff. What really threw me for a loop, though, was a recent video he did with his little sister, because it literally makes me feel archaic seeing how much older she is now versus the first time that we all saw her in that Vine.
We are doing the blindfolded drawing challenge.
Here are the proofs.
I am archaic at this point. How is this possible? She's like a fully functioning member of society. I'm basically an old hag. Okay, moving on, we have Cameron Dallas, who seems to be one of the members that really capitalized off of his Magcon fame after leaving the group. He had that Chasing Cameron documentary, the Expelled movie, and then he's also been in The Outfield, Frog Kingdom, and Neighbors 2 Sorority Rising. And according to Google, he's an actor, YouTuber, internet celebrity, and beyond that, he's also apparently been doing some singing, where he first dropped a song called She Bad in 2015, which I'm very curious to hear.
Cameron, hey, it's Chris Williams, Chief Product Officer over at iHeartRadio. Hey, listen, your fan...
Is this how the song actually starts? It's like a random phone recording? Hey, Cameron, you left your dishes in the sink for like 6 days straight again. I was just wondering if you were planning on washing them anytime soon. It's starting to smell like boiled eggs in here.
Late nights, no dress code. She stay fly like Jets go.
Is this supposed to be a song, or is this just a stream of thought with a beat playing in the background? I went to walk my dog, and I saw this cute girl, and I think she looked at me. I think with the whole black backdrop and purple light thing, they were trying to go for like a night out at the club vibe, but more than anything, I feel like it's just serving suburban e-boy who just bought LED strip lights. So for the rest of this music video, it's basically the exact same thing. He's like standing under this purple light, singing about this girl who he thinks is bad, and how he wants her to shake that. But I think we should get one thing straight here. She might be bad, but so is his song. Regardless of that song and music video being a train wreck, it seems like music has actually turned into his main thing, because he recently posted this song.
Feeling helpless, I know it's not healthy.
The song is definitely the complete opposite of She Bad. For starters, it doesn't sound like it was produced with a rubber duck, but the song itself is also a lot deeper because he talks about his struggle with addiction. Oh, and he also got arrested in 2018, which I wasn't originally going to put in this video, but then I realized if I don't put it in, people are going to be like, why didn't you mention that he was arrested? So here I am mentioning it. He also posted about getting arrested and included a picture of his mugshot, which for many reasons is quite hilarious. Like, for starters, who tweets their mugshot? And even his facial expression in the mugshot. Like, this is the kind of face you pull when you're 5 years old and you're accused of wetting the bed. Not him getting arrested for alleged assault. Cameron Dallas was the mugshot challenge blueprint. We're just not ready to admit it. Between dropping songs, though, it seems that he still does Vine-style skits, but he posts them onto Instagram instead. And apparently Nash left everybody in this video on red. Next, we have a very small member of the group who I'm sure that most of you guys don't even remember him. I think his name was Shane Mayonnaise? Shed Medley? Oh, Shawn Mendes. Right. That guy. Okay, let's see what Shawn Mendes is up to right now. According to Google, his occupation is pop star. Nice. While it's obviously impressive that Shawn Mendes is a massive pop star right now, I do think the most impressive thing he ever pulled off was just simply pretending he was never a part of Magcon until everyone forgot he was. He somehow managed to pull that off so effectively that on my old Magcon video, there were Shawn Mendes fans commenting, saying that they never knew he was ever in Magcon. Like, that takes skill. Like, yeah, sure, he can sing and he can play the guitar, but pulling that off? That's talent. But don't get me wrong here. Just because he left Magcon doesn't mean we're gonna pretend that he wasn't involved in this video. Before we continue on with the video, I did want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is Audible. I'm sure that a lot of you guys have definitely come across Audible before, considering they are the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks. They've got thousands of titles ranging from bestsellers, celebrity memoirs, news, business, self-development, etc., etc. But they also offer more than just audiobooks. They've got podcasts, guided wellness programs, comedy, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. Personally, over the past couple weeks, my screen time has been frightening, and it's to the point where I don't even want to put my screen time on the screen right now, but I've definitely been trying to get back in the habit of reading over the past couple weeks, and Audible's made it a lot easier considering all you have to do is just pick a title and listen. I've really been enjoying listening to audiobooks through Audible while I'm walking my dog, and I'm currently in the middle of Sadie by Courtney Summers. I actually read the physical version of this book last summer, but I'm rereading, or I guess re-listening to it, because I've been hearing so many great things about the audiobook version. To give a bit of context, the story follows the mystery surrounding Sadie and her sister. Basically what happens is Sadie's sister dies, and as Sadie goes to avenge her sister's death and try to figure out what happened to her, she in turn goes missing. And the perspective of the book is actually written from a podcast host who is trying to solve the mystery around Sadie and her little sister. The audiobook version really took advantage of the unique perspective that the book is written from, considering it's written as a podcast, and they got over 30 voices for all of the characters and a ton of sound effects that they used to make it actually feel like you're listening to a real podcast. It's one of those things where as you're listening to it, you can tell that they put a ton of effort into it and got really creative with it, which honestly, it all paid off. It is so well done. It's such a unique listening experience, and I could not recommend it more. What's also really cool about Audible is they've recently launched a special website called stories.audible.com, where anyone, anywhere can stream hundreds of Audible titles completely free, no strings attached, for as long as the quarantine lasts. You don't have to be an Audible member to access the free titles, and the experience is completely ad-free and anonymous. You don't even have to download the app. All you have to do is go to stories.audible.com from your computer, tablet, or smartphone and just click, stream, and listen. So if you want to check out Audible for yourself, you can visit audible.com/CaseyAonso, or you can text Casey Aonso to 500-500. That's audible.com/Casey Aonso, or texting Casey Aonso to 500-500. Thanks again to Audible for sponsoring. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, next we have Nash Grier, who is Nash Grier's younger brother, and it seems that he's a YouTuber now, and he does like biking videos or something. He also had a Go 90 series which was named Top Grier, and it was listed as an unscripted comedy series, but it seems like as of now he's just doing the YouTube stuff. Next we have Jack Alinsky, who apparently just went solo after being in a duo group with another Magcon member that was called Jack and Jack. It seems like as a duo they were signed to Island Records and became pretty successful as singers, but for whatever reason they decided to go their separate ways. And this is the cover art he chose for his new solo song. Why? What is that font? I'm practicing positivity today. Beyond going solo and working on his music though, Jack also posts music content to his TikTok. The way he looks up at the end of that video kind of reminds me of that guy on Vine who, he had a guitar and like a mic set up and he'd sit on a stool and he was always doing covers. I can't remember his name, but the most distinct thing out of his videos was that he would never break eye contact with the camera and he would just stare the living shit out of it. It was to the point where it was super unnatural for him to be staring that long, even though it was only 6 seconds. Like, he would be like bopping his head and singing, but he would never break eye contact.
Forget what you thought, 'cause good girls are bad girls that haven't been called. Focus on the money.
Since we just talked about Jack Alinsky, we'll look at Jack Johnson, who is the other half of Jack and Jack, and obviously he's gone solo as well, but from what I can tell, he hasn't released any new music yet, so I guess we'll just have to wait for now. Next we have Matthew Espinoza, who seems to be mainly on TikTok now.
Okay, why do pancakes come in stacks of 3 at majority of restaurants, and then you got French toast thinking they're all high and mighty coming in at stacks of like 6, but then you have little Belgian waffles just coming in at just 1? What the... what?
In terms of his TikToks, they're pretty generic. Like, they're not overly cringy, but they're also not super entertaining, so there's not really much to add. Beyond making TikToks though, according to his Instagram, he's an aspiring actor and writer, which I think he means writer as in movie writing, because in a previous Instagram post he had mentioned that he was in the process of writing a new film, which is cool stuff. Moving on to Taylor Caniff, it seems that beyond desperately trying to piece Magcon back together, he spends most of his time making TikToks.
We gon' party, buck wild. Look at shorty, buck wild. Take a shot,
Okay, so basically his TikTok content can be boiled down to just constantly reminding people he was a part of Magcon. Next we have Carpenter, who, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea who this is. Which if anything is probably a compliment, considering the only Magcon members I know off the top of my head are the ones that, well, you know. Oh, no! Since Magcon though, he has turned into a singer, so I thought that we should watch one of his music videos. That's some straight up parkour if I've ever seen it.
I'll leave that sugar on your taste buds. Leave it to me. I want you telling your friends that wanna know where you've been.
This song kind of gives me like the winner of American Idol 2007 vibes. Like I could picture David Archuleta singing this song. I do love how the music video is literally just the same shots of him like jumping over a fence and like running into a wall. The entire video is just parkour though, basically. And like shots of his face. Moving on to Carter Reynolds, if I'm being honest, he's kind of a mystery when it comes to figuring out what he does for a living now. His YouTube page hasn't been touched in years, his Instagram is active, but there's not much to go off of other than this ad that he did for a video company.
Why do you think we share?
Like telling a story, you know? So I feel like, yeah, that's why I would share my memories, is to tell a story, a good or a bad one.
Why did they let him, of all people, say that? The rest of the ad is just a beat playing in the background of these clips with those twirly rap music video transitions. So it feels like we're supposed to be watching a rap video or some inspirational video a la Gary Vee, but it's actually just clips of guys at Dave & Buster's while someone mumbles vaguely about nothing for 10 seconds and then gives up. So I'm not really sure if he owns the company, or he's just a part of the company, or he's just promoting them. It's not really clear. He is somewhat active on TikTok, where he posts quality videos like these.
Brand new Lamborghini, fuck a cop car. With a pistol on my hip like I'm a cop.
Is this like his Hype House audition? But there is one social media platform where he is constantly dropping just straight knowledge, and that's Twitter. Good sex, no stress. One boo, no ex. Small circle, big checks. I thought that said big cheeks for a second. In fairness though, that definitely wouldn't have been off theme for this tweet. He also has some philosophical tweets though, such as, so much can change in such little time. I look real good today. Where are my loyal girls at? I want to see some ass. The best recent exchange though comes from a reply to this tweet that he put, which says, Magcon changed social media, don't at me. And the top response is for the worst. The final Magcon member we're going to check in on today is none other than Mahogany Locks. I distinctly remember Mahogany Locks, but not because she was a member of Magcon, but because she was the DJ opener for the Fifth Harmony concert that I went to, which, now that I think about that in retrospect, how the hell did that happen? But anyway, she was the DJ opener, and I swear to God, it was one of the most chaotic experiences I'd ever witnessed in my life. Me and my friends pull up and we're like super excited to hear Reflection, and we had no idea that she was opening, and we're like waiting for them to come on, and Mahogany Locks comes out of nowhere and starts blaring Turn Down for What? And just a sea of 13-year-old girls suddenly started dropping into this song. Like, don't get me wrong, they were all living their best lives, and since seeing that, I aspire to live my life as full as those 13-year-old girls during Mahogany Locks' DJ set, but it was also still a very weird experience to be put in. Beyond being a Magcon member and a opener for Fifth Harmony, she's also Red Foo Lagoon's daughter? Or something? What's his name? My apologies. She's the younger sister of Sky Blue and the niece of Red Foo. Red Foo Lagoon sounds better, so I don't take that back. Anyways, she became a singer as well, and I was actually today years old when I found out that she actually sings this popular TikTok song about stealing your man.
I can take your man if I want to.
Ah yes, such a natural, definitely non-product placement shot. Really gotta give it to Mahogany Locks here. She's subtle. Like, yes, I can take your man if I want to, but not without my NYX Cosmetics Love Disco palette that's available online and at your local makeup store for only $5.99. So the moral of this song is that she can take your man if she wants to, but lucky for you, she doesn't want to. Nice. So in summary, it seems that the most common occupations of past Magcon members are TikTokers, singers, and fathers. Anyways, I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video and a bit of a walk down Magcon memory lane. And if you did, feel free to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to follow me outside of YouTube, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which are both Casey Aonso. I also have a second channel, which is more like beauty, lifestyle, vlog related. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I'll be linking it down below. But otherwise, really hope that you guys enjoyed again, and I'll see you in the next one.